What is going on, everybody? It's that time of the night, Thursday night, 8 to 10. It's Go Talk time, and I'm joined with new face here. Jack, why don't you go introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Jack Kroll here, freshman at Monmouth. What's up, everyone? How's it going?
Yo, it's Billy,
Billy's
Sean's
back,
favorite
baby.
co-host.
My favorite one.
That's right. And there's
And
literally no competition.
the best-looking one.
That's right. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm competing with Faz.
It's a tough competition, but I'd still put you over him. I mean,
I wasn't saying it was a tough competition. I
Faz
was
is a
saying that I
gentleman.
literally had no competition.
Oh, I see. We're going to get right into it. I should welcome the cameras, too. How you guys doing tonight? Okay, cool. First topic for tonight. Melvin Gordon's coming back. What do we think about this, guys?
Will he still be able to perform from a fantasy perspective and from a football perspective? Because you have Austin Eckler right now who's playing really good football, and Austin Eckler's had an entire offseason to work out. He's had a preseason, and he's had 3 regular season games now where he's played very good football.
Plus the preseason.
And yeah, and Melvin Gordon will be coming in halfway or a quarter of the way through the season with minimal team workout. Will he be able to jump back into it in the same way that he was able to perform last year? Because if I'm the Chargers right now, I'm going Melvin Gordon. I'm not going Melvin Gordon. I'm going Austin Eckler.
I have to agree. I mean, the Chargers, yeah, they're gonna be I think they're gonna be a team that kind of just misses out on the playoffs in my eyes. But they, I mean, Melvin Gordon, yeah, he's a great running back, whatever. But he doesn't have that same. He hasn't put in the work yet. He hasn't put in any of the work yet to start off the season.
I don't know about that. It's to start off the season,
yeah. But he hasn't gotten those reps.
Yeah, just to be clear, he definitely deserves. He's at that caliber where he can hold out, but he's not exactly
He's not Le'Veon Bell. He's not Zeke.
right. He's not someone who could do it the whole season and then make that huge pay cut at the end. I don't think, because especially when someone like Austin Eckler steps up and then takes your job effectively.
For me, there's 2 ways to look at this situation. One, from a football winnings perspective, and one from a fantasy perspective. So to touch on the football perspective first, it's only going to make the Chargers better, because even if they split it,
That's a fair point.
it's going to make them better. It's going to get them more wins. Now, getting into fantasy, Austin Eckler has been one of the top running backs in fantasy this year without question, almost averaging 20 points per game in fantasy in PPR leagues. What is the effect on Eckler in fantasy now? Do you trade for him? Do you try to trade him, or do you try to get him? I think that's the big question mark here with Eckler.
I mean, with Gordon coming back, eventually Melvin Gordon's they're gonna either wind up splitting carries, or Melvin Gordon's gonna take back full reins of the workload. So you're gonna want to trade him away, in my eyes.
I don't know. I mean, even last year when Melvin Gordon was playing at his full potential, Austin Eckler still had breakout games where he was doing big things. And I think that with him coming in, showing that he could do that on a week-to-week basis, it's hard for a fantasy owner to trade him away, but it's also hard for the Chargers to stop taking reps from him when he's performing at that kind of level. So for me, it's a no-brainer to keep going with Eckler until he stops performing.
You don't want to bench the hot guy. And
Right.
like you said, Eckler was
That's
a
a fair point.
low-end flex play last year, especially towards the second half of the season. So, there's a big move right now, and I'm expecting in most leagues Eckler's going to get traded a lot because people are worried, and then people are also going to buy high on him. So
I have Eckler. I'm not trading him.
You're not trading him?
He's staying.
Okay. We'll get into some proposed fantasy trades later into the show. But for now, guys, we can't not talk about Antonio Brown, I feel like. We at least have to touch on the subject. My question for you is, should any NFL teams as of right now try to go out and get Antonio Brown?
No.
From a talent perspective, yes. From a everything else perspective, no. Antonio Brown is one of the top 5 wide receivers in the league when he's playing, but there's either something clearly wrong going on upstairs, or he's just not a respectable person, and if he's got these charges out against him, I can't see a team legitimately going out and trying to sign him like that, at least not from my perspective. I wouldn't want a player like that on my team, but then again, players like Kareem Hunt get signed, and Michael Vick got a second chance, so that's a whole thing that you have to unpack and determine for yourself. But I mean, from a talent perspective, and that's a lot how most of these players get judged, I could totally see him getting signed again.
For me, go ahead, Jack.
I was gonna say, I don't see how, because of the way everything happened with the end of his career in Oakland, because he basically just straight up said, I'm done with this, left, and wanted to go play for the best team in the NFL. And as soon as he got there, he was loved by everyone. Even like Tom Brady gave him the keys to his house or whatever. And then just was, and the rape allegations came out, and Robert Kraft, I think, made the right decision in just saying, no, like, I'm not going to stand for that, and I don't think any NFL team should.
But for me, this is where I'm going to predict for Antonio Brown. What I think's going to happen, he's going to not play for a large chunk of this season, and then we're going to get down to the end of the season. And there's a team in NFC East I think is going to take a shot on him, and I think it's going to be the Dallas Cowboys. I think if Cooper gets hurt or one of their guys gets hurt in their starting wide receiver rotation, I think they're going to take the shot on Antonio Brown. I think they're going to sign him and get him on a deal, and he's not going to do anything for them. And at that point, I think he's going to be done in the NFL, and he's going to move on to the XFL. I said this last week. I think he's going to be one of the biggest stars to first start up the XFL.
Well, you also have to lead into the question of whether or not he even wants to still play in the NFL. The XFL has already said that they won't have him, to my knowledge.
Yeah, it's
like
Vince McMahon, though. Come on now.
Fair, okay.
Come on now.
All right,
Do you
that's
think
a
he
fair
cares?
But
And
he
Antonio Brown's
tweeted
agent
out saying
said
that he did
wants
not.
to.
He did
Antonio
not.
Brown's agent said yesterday that he still does want to play in the NFL. A
Okay.
guy whose life has been football. I'm sorry. There's no way he can just walk out and say, "Oh, I don't want to play anymore."
Right.
The other topic I wanted to bring up is what you said. There's something wrong upstairs. Do you think Antonio Brown is suffering from CTE?
I do.
You do.
I think it's.
I think-
See, that's another thing that's coming up a
The-
lot in the media now.
The biggest thing with that, when you look at the hit that Vontaze Burfict had on him a while ago, he hasn't been the same since. That's when he had that weird haircut that looked like Lego, and that's when everything kind of started to unfold. I mean, that's when he sat out the last game of the season last year, like right after that. So
Yes, I do think it's very possible that he's suffering from something related to CTE, but at the same time, like, I think that there has to be a sort of sense of accountability, and I feel like Antonio Brown has done a lot of things recently in the public eye that are not acceptable and are not things that people should be giving to role model like Antonio Brown is someone who kids watch and think of like as someone they should model and be like. You know what I'm saying? Because he's one of the perennial players in the NFL. So, like, for me, if he's going to be doing that, he has to have a sense of accountability. If he's going to be in the NFL, he has to have a sense of accountability. So, CTE or not, like, I don't think it's excusable.
It's
and I think
not.
that's
No,
kind
it's
of how the
definitely not.
media is trying to use this. It's like, what if he has CTE? Like, every football team in the NFL has doctors. I imagine at this point, after it happened, some 2+ years ago, the Vontaze Burfict hit, we'd have some sort of we'd be closer to some sort of diagnosis because you were able to see it in like the Aaron Hernandez case.
Well, I'll get into this because I just did a speech about Aaron Hernandez and CTE, and you can't tell when someone has CTE until you do an autopsy on their brain.
Got it.
The other I feel like this topic can be discussed a whole lot, so I'm not gonna get into too much detail.
Yeah.
But like I said, you can't tell if someone has CTE until you do autopsy on their brain, and the question that really is going to need to be answered by the NFL and pretty much the rest of the world is, so like for Aaron Hernandez's example, are the murders the blame for CTE? Or can CTE not take the responsibility? You know, the symptoms of CTE were demonstrated in Aaron Hernandez, the extreme symptoms, frontal lobe damage, unable to control your behavior. I mean, one of the quotes I found during my speech was that one of the Patriots veteran teammates said to the rookie coming in, who was going to be Hernandez's locker buddy, sometimes he's going to be warm and fuzzy, sometimes he's going to throw stuff around the locker room. And, you know, stuff like that, those rages of anger, it's the question, lawfully, can you blame CTE for murder? I think that's the question that is going to come up again, as sad as it is to say, because if CTE does have extreme symptoms like that, it may not be the last time we see something like that happen. We're going to move on to our next topic, and that is, you know, obviously we all know Danny Dimes went out there and lit it up. I can't be happier
Right,
about
did
that.
it in shorts too.
Can't be happy with that. But I don't want to talk about Daniel Jones right now. I want to talk about the other guy who's getting overshadowed by Daniel Jones, and that's Kyle Allen on the Carolina
I
Panthers.
thought you were going to say Gardner Minshew.
Okay. I thought you were
No,
gonna say
Mike's
Gardner
not
Minshew.
here.
But Kyle Allen did have a great
He
game
had
this
4
weekend.
touchdowns. So my question here is, guys, does Kyle Allen have the chance to take Cam's job?
100%.
Yes.
You think so?
Yep.
I don't see why not. I mean, Cam Newton has been the most has been one of the more overrated quarterbacks recently. He's been very inaccurate. Like he's
I
kind
agree.
of for me, he's in this mold of quarterbacks where it was like he's one of the last quarterbacks where it was like mobility over accuracy.
Yeah.
And now there's this whole new breed of quarterbacks where you can be both.
Yeah.
So like he's kind of the last of a dying breed, and you don't really have the need for his services anymore. Whereas Kyle Allen is like the pocket presence quarterback still works in the NFL, and
I mean,
like
look at Brady.
right, exactly, and like he has a lot of good supporting cast, and we saw this Sunday that like when you use that cast and you're like exercising it properly, then like you could have a really good team in Carolina. It's just a matter of like, are we gonna keep trying to do a run pass option with Cam Newton, or are we gonna like step up our game? And I think that Kyle Allen might not be the answer to it, but like I think moving on from Cam Newton is.
Yeah, I totally agree. Again, Allen may not be the guy that they stick with. They like obviously could look to other spots, the Panthers, but I don't think Cam Newton's your guy anymore. Like, yeah, he's been there, he's been solid for how many years, but it's just I think that time, even though he's not that old, that time has come to where, like, hey, he's really not producing anymore.
Yeah, totally.
The NFL is in such a weird spot right now with quarterbacks because, okay, let's say, like you guys say, Cam Newton loses his starting job. He's done in Carolina, right? Kyle Allen takes a job. So what does Carolina do if they have a top 10 pick? Because this is one of the most quarterback-heavy drafts we've seen in a long, long time. Same situation in Miami. If Josh Rosen starts playing well, what do you do with Miami? Do you take a top 10 quarterback? So there's this weird position right now where Kyle Allen could go out there and play good, not great, good, and his starting job might be in line. So I think this is just really unlucky for Cam because if it wasn't for this draft coming, because I don't think Carolina's making the playoffs.
No.
So I think they're going to have a decent pick. And I think Cam's in this weird spot right now where, like, he might have a hard time fighting not only starting job with the Panthers, but in general. Because a lot of these bad teams are going to take these quarterbacks in top 10 in a very quarterback-heavy class. So, like, where does that stand for guys like Kyle Allen and Josh Rosen?
I mean, I think guys like Kyle Allen and Josh Rosen are going to fight for a job this year, and then next year there's a lot of really good
quarterback competition.
It's going to be exactly. It's going to be a quarterback competition. You're going to have guys like Josh Rosen like fighting to keep that starting job, and guys like Kyle Allen fighting to keep that starting job, and that's going to be an awesome competition to see, regardless, because these are guys who have been. Well, Kyle Allen, I don't know what year he's in the NFL. I know Josh Rosen's in his second year, and he's been dished around plenty of times. I think that Josh Rosen deserves a chance to like get that shot, and I know that if he's put in a quarterback battle, he's going to do his best to win it, and I think that's really compelling. I think that it's just a great character building thing. It develops you into a leader. I think that regardless, if you draft that quarterback in the top 10, it holds trade value, and it ends up like determining a better leader. Like regardless of what happens with that quarterback, if they become the backup and then you use them to trade off, or they become the starter, then either way I think you're getting something out of that quarterback. So I could totally see both of those teams ending up going for quarterbacks in the first round if they have top 10 picks.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the one thing with this draft class, it's almost like you want to wait for next year's just so you can get to Trevor Lawrence, because I think he's going to be the biggest. I think he's going to be the biggest.
You don't think he's going this year?
I don't think so. I think he's going to out another year just so he can get more experience. If he goes this year, it's almost going to not to the same extent, because I think he's proven more what he's done in college than what Sam Darnold did, because Sam Darnold also went as a sophomore.
To wrap up this conversation, I am going to disagree with you two and say I think Cam's going to win the starting job back. I do. I can't see him playing anywhere other than Carolina. I'd like to see Kyle Allen go out there and throw another good game.
Well, I could see Cam Newton just not playing after this year.
I think he's going to finish in Carolina this year. I think he could be done after this year, but I do think he's going to get his job back.
I don't know if he's going to get his job back. I think he's just going to sit on the bench.
I don't know. If he gets his job back and Kyle Allen continues to perform, I think that is like the primary reason for Carolina to go and just clean house. Like,
yeah.
I see them cleaning house with Ron Rivera putting Cam back in, and they're going to fire their coach and get rid of Cam.
Yeah,
and start with Kyle Allen and a new coach.
That's what I'm
but
saying.
But I think Riverboat Ron's going to put Cam back in.
If Rivera puts Cam back in, Carolina's front office cleans house. Like Ron's gone, Cam's gone, and you're building a team around McCaffrey and
yes, exactly. That's what I think is going to happen. That's exactly what I think is going to happen.
Respect that.
Yeah, I do. I mean, Cam's, I don't think he's that. He's just not that same level of quarterback he used to be.
Yeah, agreed. All right, let's move on to, we're going to do some fantasy trades, propose, see what you guys think. Would you take it? Would you not? First one, Joe Mixon for Bears D and Tevin Coleman. Jack, we'll start with you, and then we'll go to Billy.
I'm going to have to accept that. I've never been a huge Joe Mixon guy. I'm not a huge fan of the Bengals. I've had Joe Mixon on fantasy. I want to say it was 2 years ago, and he did not perform to what I expected to, and I've always had a grudge against him since. So, and the Bears defense, I mean, you're not going to go wrong with that.
I'll pass on that. Tevin Coleman, he's in San Fran right now.
San Fran. He's hurt. He's been hurt all year so
Matt
far.
Breida has just been doing great so far this year, and the Bears defense has been up and down. And the Bears defense
Says a Packers fan.
Yeah, well, yeah, of course, I'm biased, but like, I don't know. I think that for what it's worth, like the Bears defense always has a chance to come back, but I'd rather have one good running back over like a hurt running back and a good defense.
So this is the interesting part of this, because this is a trade I actually did last week.
Okay.
I got Tevin Coleman, the Bears D, for Joe Mixon. So why I did this? So I have Derrick Henry and James Conner as my running backs.
Okay.
So I have
You have
depth
solid,
there.
yeah. You have
And
solid
Joe
guys.
Mixon is averaging 9 points a game right now on an 0-3 Bengals team who's going to be passing the ball a lot. Joe Mixon's not a receiving back. Giovanni Bernard is the receiving back on that team. So I'm getting a steady defense, and I don't need to worry about any opponent at that point. You know what I mean with the Bears defense, though?
No, fair enough.
They
Like you're
could play.
you're
They
getting
could
that
play
6,
Chiefs,
7 point
and they're
game.
still not going to get negative points probably.
No.
So like I don't have to worry about that now.
Yeah.
And I get Tevin Coleman, who a guy Kyle Shanahan loves. Tevin Coleman. Tevin Coleman, useless in standard scoring. Tevin Coleman in PPR, he could be a really good flex play for me. So that's why I made this trade personally.
Fair enough.
Because I'm going off the fact that Tevin Coleman's going to come back and take a lot of the receiving back duties in San Francisco. I do think Matt Breida is going to win that starting job as their primary runner. But you got to think PPR-wise, Tevin Coleman, if he's getting 5-6 receptions a game, Kyle Shanahan loves this guy. He paid him a lot of money to come to San Francisco this year.
He's going to have to use him.
Yeah, he's going to have to
Didn't
use him
they
when he
pay a
comes
lot
back.
for what's the other guy too? He came
McKinnon?
from McKinnon.
He's
yeah.
hurt all year, though.
Gotcha.
This is another guy I love, but he's just been dealing
Yeah.
with injuries.
They have a great backfield.
yeah.
They do.
Braid is a very talented back, too. So
Yeah, and don't forget Jimmy GQ.
Yeah. All right, next trade. Jarvis Landry for Drew Brees. And remember, Drew Brees is hurt for a couple more weeks.
Ooh, that's tough.
I take it.
You take it?
Yeah, I mean Drew Brees when he's playing is like a 20-point
Yeah,
quarterback
he
every
is.
week. He's just a real gunslinger. And then what was the other guy's?
Jarvis Landry.
That's right. Jarvis Landry's in a really high-powered offense that hasn't been performing. But even when it does perform, I wouldn't count on Jarvis Landry to be like the number one scorer, even from a wide receiver perspective, from a running back perspective. Like even David Njoku can outscore him at some
Njoku's
point.
hurt for the year.
Oh, never mind. I take that
That just
back.
happened, though. Don't
Yeah.
feel bad. That just happened like yesterday.
But still, he's not the primary
And you still have Odell there,
target.
obviously.
Right.
Yep.
And you have Odell.
Our last trade for tonight that we're going to propose is Sony Michel and Aaron Jones for Chris Carson and Demarcus Robinson.
I'm going to have to say no on that trade. Because Sony Michel is such a huge part of that Patriot offense, and Aaron Jones, I think, isn't as he's a solid back. I don't see how that's worth.
Can you say the second part of the trade?
Yeah,
again?
it's Aaron Jones and Sony Michel for Chris Carson and Demarcus Robinson.
I can't take that trade.
Yeah.
I just think that Aaron Jones isn't the primary right now in my head. I think that Matt LaFleur had a lot of success with Derrick Henry, and Jamal Williams is more of a power back in Green Bay, so he might be. I think we might see more carries from him. But Sony Michel is a real integral part of that offense. They wouldn't have taken a running back first round if they didn't think he was going to be something
Exactly.
special.
See, this is a trade that happened in one of my leagues. It wasn't me personally, and I thought it was interesting because I traded Chris Carson for Kerryon Johnson last week to this kid, and then he flipped Chris Carson for Sony Michel and Aaron Jones. I'm like, that's a win for him. I
Yeah.
think having Sony Michel and Aaron Jones is a win because Sony Michel has been off to a slow start, and obviously he's a Patriots running back, so he's the most unpredictable running back in the league
Yeah, he
probably.
is.
But he's gonna get touches. He's gonna get there, and I think Aaron Jones. I'm not really high on Aaron Jones. I don't think he'll keep a starting job for too long. But as of right now, he's been a low-end flex play. Not even low-end. I would just say normal flex play. And, if you want a good couple weeks, you're going to get it at Aaron Jones. I don't know what his longevity is going to be, but now you plug in Sony Michel, who hopefully picks it up at the end of the year. You're getting two decent backs.
He's going to pick it up at the end of the year.
You always want running backs.
Yeah.
And the reason I traded Chris Carson, because I think Rashad Penny's going to win that job. I do, because Chris Carson fumbles the ball too much.
He also he's also a first round pick, and like he hasn't seen the
Carson's
field
good.
that much.
He's good, and they're trying to
no
use him
doubt.
as passing back, but he's just fumbling too much. That's why I got rid of him as soon as I could.
No, yeah, I respect that. And okay, totally.
All right, let's do some Sunday game and Monday night picks. We'll go through all the games, all right?
Yep.
So the first one we have is Giants at the Redskins. We'll go Billy first this time, Jack, and then me.
Giants.
I'm gonna have to say Giants.
Giants. So I'm gonna say Giants, and I'm also saying there's gonna be a brawl in this game because I think Dwayne Haskins is gonna play, and I think Landon Collins is gonna try to kill someone on the Giants, and I think Eric Flowers is gonna try to kill someone on the Giants because half the Redskins rosters is ex-Giants players
Giants
that
players.
hate the Giants.
Yeah.
So I think there's gonna be a brawl either this
I
one
don't know.
or when
Eric
they're in
Flowers is pretty bad.
when they're in
He's
Washington.
really bad.
All right, Chiefs at the Lions.
Chiefs.
Yeah, Chiefs. That's not even a question.
The Lions are undefeated.
But
The Lions
all
have
right.
played who now? Let's go over it.
the
They've played
Cardinals,
the Cardinals.
Eagles, and who did they play week 2?
Who
They played the
did the
Cardinals,
Lions
the Eagles,
play?
and they played.
The Cardinals, Eagles, and the Chargers. Oh, okay. The Chargers isn't bad. They beat the Chargers.
They did beat the Chargers.
Good for them.
I can't. You can't not go Chiefs though. Like I love Patricia, but I don't think you can not go Chiefs.
No.
All
Just
right.
real quick, just to keep everyone updated, Packers are winning 7-0 with 10 minutes left in the first.
Keep us updated, Billy.
You
That's
got
usually
it.
Mike's job. All right.
Taking over.
Titans at the Falcons.
Ooh.
Titans.
I'm gonna. As much as I love Matt Ryan and Julio Jones, I'm gonna have to go Titans.
Titans and Malcolm Butler gets a pick 6.
Ooh, I'm gonna go.
Ooh.
I'm gonna go
On Julio.
Titans. Derrick Henry gets 2 touchdowns.
Yeah,
Okay.
I see that happening.
I will play
easily,
Derrick Henry this
actually.
week.
I have him playing. So.
Yeah.
I have him playing as well.
He's my flex.
Browns
Wow,
at
that's
the
a soft
Ravens.
Uh,
This should be a good game.
Ravens.
I'm not sold on the Browns yet, but I'm also not sold on the Ravens. I think that's going to be a huge battle between, which I think is the winner of that game is going to win the AFC North.
That's gonna be a good game.
That's
Ravens and Lamar Jackson hurdles Myles Garrett.
Oh, I love that.
wow.
I love that.
I do love that. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go Ravens too.
I'm gonna go Ravens as well because you know how much I love Lamar Jackson, how much I love John Harbaugh. I've been talking about him ever since he's been at Louisville. Lamar Jackson, so I gotta go Ravens there. I do like Baker, but they're just off to a slow start, and I think the Ravens are really good. All right, next we have Raiders at the Colts.
I'm gonna have to say the Colts. I think Jacoby Brissett has stepped up when they needed him to, and I mean that Colts D, I think is one of the best in the NFL.
Yeah, I gotta go Colts.
I
think Jacoby Brissett has a breakout game.
I hate to agree with you guys, but Brissett's another guy I think deserves a starting job, and I think the Colts are gonna win. I took the Raiders as my upset pick last week, and it did not work out for me.
Just stop
They got-
having faith in them.
They got
Sean.
stormed by the Vikings, which actually surprised me. So next we have Pats at the Bills, and we always know the Patriots division games are always interesting. The Bills are undefeated.
But all right, but as much as I hate New England as a Jets fan, the Patriots, what are they, like 15? Like Tom Brady has like the most wins in Buffalo in like the history of the Bills.
Oh, probably. I
Like,
mean, that makes
it's-
sense.
Like he's got 15 wins there all time. Like he's torn it up there. I don't see the Patriots losing this game.
The Bills and Frank Gore has 150 total yards.
I'm going Bills too.
Re-
I think Josh Allen is a bad man. I think he's
right?
the perfect person for Buffalo, and I absolutely love him in Buffalo.
I love Josh Allen and
I
Devin
think
Singletary.
he's the third best quarterback out of that draft class. Josh Allen,
So who do you have, Baker and Darnold ahead of him?
not Darnold. Baker and,
Oh,
and Lamar.
And Lamar.
Lamar
Baker,
at
Lamar.
one.
I always
Baker
forget. I always
and
forget
then
Lamar was in that draft
I mean,
Yeah,
Allen
that's
could take
because
over
he was
Baker
so low.
That's a real good class.
because I don't think Darnold's going to be as good as Allen. I really don't. And
I
Mike's not
disagree.
here to argue.
I disagree.
Me.
I disagree completely.
I'm not a big Darnold guy.
I love him.
I mean, he can't
Disagree
even protect his
completely.
immune system.
Yeah. All right. Well, wait for him to tear. Wait for him to tear it up against the Eagles week 5. When
He's
he
not
comes back.
going to. He's not going to. I'm sorry. Darnold's gonna be a decent quarterback for his whole life.
He's gonna tear it up against
Jack,
the Eagles
I need
this
you to
week.
take deep breaths. Deep
He's-
breaths.
Are you a
Alright.
Jets fan?
diehard Jets.
Oh,
fan.
this is perfect. This is like Mike. Mike's a diehard Jets
no,
fan.
he's as
So
soon as,
Adam Gase.
Oh, he
Worst
is a
hire of
clown.
that.
He is a clown.
Worst hire that year, Adam Gase.
Yeah. Oh, worst hire in the Jets last. I mean, he was.
Well, hold on.
He's a
Rex
clown.
Ryan's been there.
Yeah, but Rex
I'd
Ryan
take
also
Ryan
got
over. I'd take Ryan
yeah,
over
without
him.
a doubt.
100%.
Rex Ryan got us the AFC Championship twice.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
All right, we'll move on. I won't roast the Jets anymore.
Thank you.
Not as fun without Mike here.
Panthers at the Texans.
I'm gonna say Panthers. Kyle Allen tears it up again. Just keeps Cam Newton on the bench.
Yeah, Panthers. Texans are off to a slow start.
I'm going Texans. I think Kyle Allen has a decent game, not great. And I think Deshaun Watson puts up 4 touchdowns.
This should be called Kyle Allen talk.
Although, that Panthers D has been kind of not talked about, and it's been very good this year.
Yeah,
So-
Luke Kuechly is leading the league in tackles.
is. Yeah.
The Panthers D has been top 10 probably this year so far, I would say.
Yeah, no doubt.
Kind of quietly too. Okay, we'll move on then. Bucks at the Rams.
Rams. I'm not sold on
Bucks.
the Bucks.
Bucks are gonna get absolutely stormed.
Yeah.
21 points. They're gonna win by.
Okay.
I'm not gonna say 20. I'm not gonna
No,
say
I
21.
respect that. I'm picking Bucks as an upset.
20
Like-
plus the Rams.
I don't like
Bills
the
are my
Bucks,
upset this week.
but I do want the Bucks to win. I don't know why.
Bills are my upset this week. All right, we got Seahawks at the Cardinals.
Seahawks.
I'm gonna have to go Seahawks. I was thinking, yeah.
I'm going Seahawks on a game-winning drive.
On a game-winning
or
drive.
a game-winning field goal.
Okay.
High-scoring game, I think. All right, then we have Vikings at the Bears.
Bears.
I don't know why. I think I'm feeling Kirk Cousins as good as the
You
Bears.
like that. You like that. I'm a huge Kirk Cousins fan, by
as
the
much
way.
as much whatever people give Kirk Cousins for saying he's not that great against like good teams. I don't know why this week I feel I've
He had a good week last
He
year.
did.
As
He's-
long as Cook's running, he doesn't have to do anything. And that's what he's been doing good this year so far.
and I think Thielen's gonna have a big game.
I love him too.
Yeah.
So the Bears win in a shootout game, and Mitch Trubisky throws 4 touchdowns and
All right,
0
that's-
interceptions.
I think this is another game that's going to come down to the last drive. I do. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I'm going to take Vikings 10-7, game-winning field goal.
10-7.
Sounds like a boring one. Don't
I'll
have to
go, I'll
tune
go
in.
2 upsets.
That sounds like the Super Bowl.
2 upsets
Yeah.
this week. All right. Jags at the Broncos. This is kind of a tough one to pick, too.
Is it really?
Gardner Minshew.
Is it really?
I guess it's not. Yeah.
Gardner
Gardner
Minshew pulls out
Minshew.
another W.
I say Minshew throws for 3 touchdowns.
Beowulf,
One interception, though.
Beowulf
No.
defeats Grendel in a thrilling matchup this
Beowulf
weekend.
beats Grendel. I love that. Mike wants me to be Gardner Minshew for Halloween.
You should.
You should. I see it.
Of
I don't
course.
say.
Who doesn't?
All right, that came up last show, but all right. Next we have the Cowboys at the Saints.
I think this is a revenge game for the Saints.
Okay.
From
Cowboys
last
are
year.
undefeated right now,
They are.
and they got Teddy for the Saints, so just keep that in mind.
Yeah. But they tore up the Seahawks last week.
Give me Cowboys.
Cowboys. I'm gonna take Saints. I say Teddy has another great game. Gets that inspiration going.
Yeah,
How can you not love Teddy?
I'm not trying to vote against
Plus,
Teddy H.
I'm a Giants
H2O.
fan.
I
I'm
love
a Giants fan. I'm voting against the Cowboys.
Fair
'Cause
enough.
We're coming for first place now that we have Danny Dimes.
All right. Well, that's a little ridiculous here.
All right, not for tonight. Another night. Billy, what's our update on the Thursday night game before we wrap this up?
Hold on. Give me a second. It's going to take me about a minute, so stall
Eagles
for me.
Packers tonight. I did start Carson Wentz, so hopefully he's having a good game. It always makes me nervous when my guys play on Thursday night. So
We still have 7-0. Packers have the ball back, so the Eagles couldn't finish on their next drive.
all right. Well, that was it for our cameras tonight. I want to thank Hawk TV for helping me set this up. We're really excited to keep this going all year. We're going to do probably 30-minute segments posting to YouTube, stuff like that. So make sure you check it out. Check out WMCX on Instagram, it's WMCX889, on Twitter, WMCX, on Facebook, WMCX889FM, and check out Hawk TV, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. They're great, really great people. Billy's the best looking guy in Plangier. And I hope everyone has a good night.
Second best.
Safe
Sean's
night,
still here.
And we'll see you next week.